These seagulls are extremely loud, and I'm going to run into them. Wait, I gotta switch this into slow-mo. So this week's vlog is going to be a little different. It's not going to be as produced as what I normally make. It's going to be more of your standard vlog style. But there's this quote that I keep thinking about that goes, to change your attitude, you have to change your latitude. Now this may be a quote that's attributed to Ernest Hemingway, in which case it's very wise and thought-provoking. Or it might be attributed to Jimmy Buffett, in which case it's just a really solid rhyme. Anyways, I'm in Florida, so let's get this thing started. So when you picked me up from the airport, we started talking about a whole bunch of things, but the thing that I want to start out with is the whole SAD, seasonal
affective disorder.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've necessarily ever been afflicted with that, but you have.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. And so it was just like every winter, starting shortly after Thanksgiving, I would just become very apathetic, lazy, had this weird sense of just negativity and almost impending doom, like things just weren't gonna be okay. And there was really no reason why. I didn't have stress at work, I didn't have stress at home. Life was good. There wasn't anything that should have been triggering those feelings of doubt and depression, but they were there, and they were strong. And it took a friend of mine just saying, hey, you know, maybe you're just sad. And I'm like, no, I am sad. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, sad, like seasonal affective disorder. It's a thing. And so I started Googling it and just reading it, you know, and like there's a lot of things, your magnesium levels, B12, vitamin D, a lot of things that the sun does for you that we don't realize. In Michigan, we go without when the days get short and we climb up inside.
Right.
And so I started just taking vitamins, and then melatonin was the one that was getting me back into a routine of sleep, a deeper sleep. And it was like somebody flipped a switch in me and the lights came back on in my eyes. And it wasn't, the winter wasn't a thing to be fear anymore. It was actually something I got excited about. And this year, you know, we had that really bad snowstorm.
Right.
I was actually out in it the whole time as much as I could, taking Lexi out in it, you know, playing, whereas the past 4 winters, you know, all I wanted to do was watch Netflix and eat. And that was like the only thing. I mean, you try to get me to go outside and go sledding, do something fun. It was just this weird sense of doubt that I should or could. And it was a form of depression. And so once I named it and understood it, it was crazy how chemical it was.
Right.
And before I experienced it, I would always like kind of smirk at people who said they struggled with anxiety or depression and be like, well, what do you mean? Just decide to be happy. Like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
Like, just why are you choosing to be depressed? And it wasn't until I suffered from it that I realized there's no choice there. It is, you cannot push yourself out of it. And after further study, I've realized it's because it's chemical. It's an imbalance in our bodies, an imbalance in our like overall health, whether it's lack of sunlight, whether it's lack of exercise, whether it's lack of sleep. In the winter, usually it's all 3 of those things, right? Like we don't get the sunlight, we're apathetic and sitting on the couch watching TV, and then our rhythms are thrown off for all of those reasons.
Right.
We're practically in a state of rest all day, and so our bodies don't really know when to turn on those things.
There's a huge thing with this SAD disorder that is important to know, that it is a chemical imbalance, and you can fix that through diet and activity and all of that. But have you dealt with any other kinds of depression?
Yeah, well, what's funny is before I understood what was happening and why every winter I'd feel this way, I started to develop anxiety that something was wrong with me. And that's why, like, something was really wrong with me, like physically wrong with me. And for a few years, that would carry through year round, to where I would feel depressed that there was something wrong with me and I didn't know what it was, and it was somehow limiting me, and that fear would keep me from doing the activities that I would enjoy,
Right.
which would then lead to me being kind of depressed and purposeless, so to speak.
Sure.
And so, you know, all of this for me is about being me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I honestly feel like I lost 3 years of my life where I was not me, right? We talked about saying yes to things and being always down to do something fun. You know, we talked about a mutual friend of ours, Brian, and how him and I would always talk about we don't find any rest in being idle.
Right.
Our souls get rest through adventure and through experiences. And so all of this is about getting back to that, about being me. And so I'm trying to focus more on like the now, right? Like not thinking too far into the future and letting the unknown or the fears that may exist there limit my decisions today. Not dwelling in maybe something that happened in the past that may also cause some fear or some hesitation, and just seeing the world for what it is today and trying to be in the moment now. And that plays even more than just like my physical side. That gets more into like even spiritual and protecting myself from social media and the internet and the things that can distract me away from what's important in that moment.
Yeah.
And I'm still not a pro at it. I still struggle, but I'm receptive to it. My eyes are open to it, to where I can recognize it sooner and put the phone down, you know, push the sedentary activities to the side and, you know, grab one of the girls and go outside and play, or call a friend and see, you know, if we can go out and do something, or if I'm sitting at work, stand up and go for a walk.
Right.
Just that moment that I realize I've been sitting here for hours, close the computer, go for a walk.
Yeah.
And we, even in those moments, we lie to ourselves, right? Like, oh, it's 30 degrees outside and snowing, I can't go for a walk. You own a coat, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can. and you should, right? Like, and so it's about just changing that mentality and going to that yes mentality of like, yeah, whatever that voice is telling you that you can't, it's usually wrong. And you can push through it or find a way to make whatever you're supposed to do. You know, one of your videos you talk about just starting. Right. And it's kind of that. It's like you tell yourself you can't go for a walk, or there's something going on that's stopping you from doing the thing you want to do. It's just like, say shut up and just stand up and start to do it.